Haichka, Elder Patty, and over to you.
Israel tells Yaya, Patricia tells Gui, Literature Queltstat. I've greeted you today in Halkamelam, the beautiful language of the Stalo people. As we gather virtually, I would like you to acknowledge that traditional territory where you are right now. I live and work in Saltamuch. Today, I'm at home at Chiam First Nation and acknowledge the traditional, ancestral, unceded territory of the Stalo people. I lift my hands in gratitude to all of our ancestors and leaders today for their faithful stewardship of this land since time immemorial. I lift my hands in thanksgiving to all who have worked diligently to bring us together, strengthening the circle. All of our planning meetings move forward in the sacred teachings of love, respect, courage, honesty, wisdom, humility, and truth. In Stalo tradition, this relationship is Latsamat, meaning one heart and one mind. So today, as we gather with one heart and one mind, I want us to consider on May 27th, 2021, to Kamloops, Kupi, Roseanne Casimir confirmed the unthinkable loss that was spoken about but never documented by Kamloops Indian Residential School. With the help of a ground-penetrating radar specialist, the stark truth came to light, the confirmation of the remains of 215 children who were students at the Kamloops Indian Residential School. Out of deep respect and love for those lost children and their families, understanding that Kamloops is the final resting place of these children, to Kamloops acknowledges their responsibility to caretake for these lost children. Today, as we gather to learn from one another, to walk together in a good way, we will rejoice in the research. We will learn of good ways to move forward, strengthening the circle. But before we get to that place of celebrating the good work being done, I would invite each of us to remember the children, to remember the Indigenous nations all over Turtle Island who are grieving, and to remember that the reason that we have gathered today to strengthen the circle, to strengthen Indigenous people's lives. Let us take a moment of silence to remember, to pray. And then I will sing a prayer song gifted to us by one of our dear late elders, Shirley Norris from the Stahelis community. So let's take a moment to remember. Oh, 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 he'll say sama. Oh, 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 he'll say sama. Oh, Chelsea, Coelia, Elsie Quell, Octopometer spoke for Helen, the Latita, the Latita, way up, oh, 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 till say summer. Oh, 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 till say summer. Oh, Chelsea, Coelia, Elsie Quell, Oxford on the tell spoke the hammer. The Amherst slash Latita. The Amherst slash Latita. Way up, way up. I'd like to turn it over to Len Pierre.
Hi, Chika. Thank you so much, Patty, for a powerful moment of reflection and a beautiful way of opening up our work here today. Hi, Chika. Ace Whale, good day, everyone, and welcome. My name is Len Pierre. I am Coast Salish from Katesy First Nation, zooming into you from my home territory of North Langley in Walnut Grove, which is shared traditional territory with our sister nation, the Kwantlen First Nation peoples. I have the humble honor and privilege of being the consultant for Indigenous cultural safety and humility at Fraser Health, where I have worked for about 2 years now, and am a member of the planning committee for the Fraser Salish Indigenous Health Research Symposium. I'm very happy and honored to be here today to share and hold a little bit of space to introduce the cultural protocol affiliated with the role of calling witnesses in Coast Salish territory. But before I do, I would like to offer my own reflection and pause to honor and recognize the current climate and context in which we are having this discussion with the unearthing of 215 remains of children from the Indian residential school. I know that many of us are focused our conversations on the what has happened, but I would like to pause for a moment and offer us to reflect on who are the real heroes of today doing good work. I would first like to honor and recognize the residential school survivors who are now elders in their communities, who have also been emotionally triggered by this unearthing. But in our time of crisis and collective trauma response, I know that many of our elders who are survivors of the residential schools are also knowledge keepers and healers and leaders in our community, and have never once put their needs to the forefront, but rather put their needs aside to care for their communities and their families and their loved ones. So I want to honor and recognize survivors who are continuing to do the good work and care for and lead their communities. I would also like to take this time to thank and honor Indigenous counselors who are providing their care and their work to the people who are needing to talk and debrief about this crisis. Traditional healers, drummers and singers, matriarchs, Indigenous educators who I know, our messages and phones and emails are kind of going off the hook. People are busting down our doors wanting to consult and have somebody speak to what is going on in the world today and what this means. To all Indigenous health staff, those of you who are with us today, thank you for being here. Thank you for the good work. They have been long, emotional days, honoring and recognizing those long, emotional days and the work that you still do, how you show up every single day. To all of our leadership and to all of our non-Indigenous friends, allies, accomplices, champions who use your voice and position to advocate and share and make room and space for Indigenous issues. Honoring and recognizing our two-spirit relatives, gay, lesbians, transgender, bisexual, queer, non-binary relatives. This month is not just National Indigenous History Month, this is also Pride Month. And at a time that should be, for rejoice and celebration, this also weighs heavy on our hearts and minds. And then of course, to all social activists, we raise our hands to you for the work that you do every day. Thank you. So my friends and my relatives and colleagues, thank you so much for being here today. We felt as an organizing committee for hosting our very first ever Fraser Salish Indigenous Health Research Symposium that we would not be within good cultural safety or humility if we did not honor the laws and protocols of the land. And we are in Coast Salish territory where the planning committee had organized this two-day event. And we felt it in our hearts and minds to honor the laws of the land by embedding the cultural protocol of calling witnesses as a ceremony into the work that we do. And for those of us who might be unfamiliar with the ceremony of calling witnesses, If we just think back to, this territory 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, if we hopped in a canoe and went back in time, we didn't have our iPads and our fancy devices to be able to record Zoom sessions. We did not have the pen and paper to write down and document meeting minutes. The way we would archive and remember special events that had taken place, like coming together and gathering for the purposes of learning and sharing, we would call witnesses. And the calling of witnesses is where we would ask visiting participants, often who are coming from different communities than our own, would come and we would call upon them to be a witness. And being called to be a witness is a tremendous honor and a responsibility. When we are calling witnesses, we are calling upon people who are leaders in their community. And what their role is as a witness is to stand and take in their experience. What are they learning? How are they feeling? And take that experience back to their home communities and share that knowledge and experience with their greater community and say, hey, this is the experience. I have been hired to be a witness. And these are the things that I have witnessed. So that knowledge would be shared with their community, being in very oral tradition. And so that is what we are going to do within our gathering of our very first Fraser Salish Indigenous Health Research Symposium, is to call upon witnesses. And we have called upon 3 witnesses that we are very thankful to have join with us. And, rather than representing communities, which we do represent many communities, we're actually calling upon people who have different backgrounds and representing different organizations and stakeholders for this work. So with that, our organizing committee, which is the family, is going to call upon these 3 respective individuals who are known to have a good position, a good mind, a good heart for the work they do. They were hand-selected from our over 520 participants, hand-selected because of your position that you hold in your organization and the position that you hold in this work. So for the folks that you see on the screen here, on behalf of our organizing committee, we are asking you and inviting you to be a witness, to take in the knowledge from today and tomorrow with an open heart and an open mind. And we ask that whatever it is that you are learning, whatever experiences that is bringing up for you in terms of how it is landing for you and resonating with you, and the good work we always say is, taking care of the people. And in healthcare, all the work that we do is in the effort of taking care of people. So we ask that you take, this knowledge and this wisdom and this experience back to your teams, to your organizations, and take a moment within your next team meeting agenda to share what you have learned and experienced at this symposium over the next 2 days. So with that, I am first going to call upon Danielle Lavallee. You are asked to witness on behalf of our planning and organizing committee to share, keep an open heart and an open mind, and take this back to your team and your organization. Haichka, Danielle, thank you. Friends and relatives, I would also like to next call upon Cheryl. Cheryl, you are being asked to witness on behalf of our organizing committee, our little family here that is new and coming together. This is our very first symposium that we have put together with many, many stakeholders. Our aim is to include Indigenous knowledge and wisdom and values into everything that we do. We ask you to keep an open heart and an open mind, take in as much as you can, and take this back to your team. All the knowledge that you will gain and the experiences that you have been feeling over the next 2 days, please share this back with your team. Thank you, Haichka Cheryl. Raise our hands to you. Thank you for this honor. And my friends and relatives, we would also call upon Brody Douglas. My friend and colleague, Brody Douglas, you are being asked to witness, to represent and take back, what it is that you are learning from these next 2 days, what you are witnessing with an open heart and an open mind, all of the intentions that we mean to create here. Please take this back to your team, our team, and the organization, and the important work that you do. Thank you, Brody. Thank you to the witnesses. At the end of the day today, in our closing ceremony and our closing ceremony tomorrow morning, afternoon-ish, We will open the floor up again, as in our Coast Salish protocols and cultures. We ask our witnesses to share with the entire group of participants here what it is that they're going to be sharing back with their teams and their organizations. So you're not done yet. We're going to bring you back and call you back to the floor, where we will give you a couple of moments to share some of your reflections and your shared learnings and what you'll be taking back to your teams. And Magdalena will open the floor up for each and every one of you. So once again, on behalf of our planning committee, our new family, we raise our hands to each and every one of you for honoring this call and doing this good work. Thank you all. And thank you all to the participants who are with us today and sharing just a little bit of our cultural knowledge and cultural protocols, the laws of the land that have been here since the beginning of time. Thank you for your openness, your willingness to be able to learn and share here today. So with that, I'm going to hand the floor back over to Bev, I believe, or Magdalena.